Have you been informed of the changes that are due to be made to the promenade and how they will affect you, for instance, vehicle access?
Nobody has informed any of the proprietors of any of the businesses here. It's been a huge secret. It's very disappointing. We were invited, well, not personally, but I think the general public were invited to view the plans some time ago, but apart from that, there's been no approach to businesses. It's very worrying and concerning. I know that there is a few of my neighbours have been involved in another group that have approached the people in charge. They put plans forward or requests forward for what's the word? Cafe style tables and chairs outside of their own businesses across the promenade here. In other words, instead of cars being directly outside, they could put tables and chairs and make it more of a European flavour, which was dismissed. And as far as I know, that's the only contact that they've come back to us with is one of refusal.
What would you personally like to see done to the promenade?
Knocked down. Completely. What they're doing, the limited knowledge I have of what they're doing is really just tarting up what we have. And what we have is a Victorian facade, which would be fine if we're Victorians, but we're not. People move forward. The general population moves forward. Yes, there are important buildings, important features that we should save, but not get carried away with it. And they're spending all this money on facelift that I personally think it should be invested in a more major step forward. That's difficult to implement in these times, but this is why it should have been tackled years ago when the government had the money to do it. And now they're going to find themselves in a hugely difficult position of ever finding the money to do it, because I can't ever see tourism coming back to anywhere near where it was, where it used to be in the 60s and 70s and 80s when it was bumper years. We are now very sort of financially minded for both tourism and long let stays, and the money is just not there. It's very difficult how they're going to go forward. The promenade, I have seen plans of buildings that were for the promenade which were very modern, very much glass and steel, very much sort of continental style, sort of Singapore. I'm not saying skyscrapers, but modern buildings, you know, that companies and businesses would be proud to go into. These were turned down by the planners, they were turned down by the conservation people, and I think they are leaving us all with a legacy of businesses supporting these terribly old buildings, and for how much longer. In this building was built in 1886. I've completely refurbished it in the last over 10 years to a modern style, but it's cost a huge amount of money to refurbish it to what it is now, where it would have been cheaper to just knock it down and start again. I was given that permission to do that, to knock it down and start again, but I had to rebuild it in exactly the same way that it came down. And I think it's just a backward step, it's retrograde, it's not going forward. And there is a typical example of this on a premises that's just being rebuilt on the promenade now, and they have knocked this old building down and it's being built in exactly the same way, and it will look no different than to how it was before it was knocked down. And I just don't see the point. We're not Victorians. We're all going forward. You know, here we are, 2014, and we're living in these old buildings. It's just, I find it incredible. I drive a modern car. Why can't I live in a modern building, have a modern business? That's my point.